Here we go, cup of tea number 19 with Michael Kindregan, down in Kildare, Zing True Health, probably a man with large kahunas, has invested all his time and energy now into building this clinic and slowly building it up. What makes Michael different is he has a background in functional health. He is the owner and operator of a Hyperbaric Chamber. He's also doing, hopefully going to help me lose these pounds. We'll try and get that off before I'm 50. And so Michael, over to you. Could you give the audience a little, I know, because I know the journey's been big for you, but where did it all begin in terms of going down this route and becoming who you are right now?
Okay, so I started off studying after school, was property economics.
It's okay.
Something very different. Made great friends during college.
Lots of drinking and partying.
Exactly, yeah. And then my father fell ill then shortly after finishing college. Cancer of the esophagus. Then he got the all clear, so then I decided we were in the middle of a recession, and so then I decided that I'd go traveling.
Yes.
For a better opportunity.
Yes.
So I went to Canada, worked there for...
Awesome.
Yeah, it was class.
Shout out to all my Canadian friends.
Yeah.
Vancouver.
I went to Ottawa.
Okay.
I picked that because I said there's a lot of Irish fleeing the country at the time, so I'd go somewhere where there wasn't many Irish.
No.
So I went there. It was great community, great fun. Then unfortunately, father fell ill again. So I was only there for a very short while. Then I think I was there maybe 4 months.
Some CBD for your coffee if you want.
Oh, nice.
You just take it out and scoop it out.
And then I came back to Ireland, and I remember being in the airport, going to myself, what am I going to do now? And I was just sitting in the airport in Montreal and seeing an advertisement for health coaching. And I was just
drawn to it.
Yeah, so sure, why not go do that? And actually today I flew into Dublin City. I had to go straight to there for an open day for an interview. So I was jet lagged. And I even remember the guy, Richard Burton, was saying, like, when I arrived, he's just like looking at me, this guy there in trade.
Not the epitome of health coaching.
And even I remember the first day, even in college, they mentioned celiac. And I was like, turned to the girl beside me, was like, what the hell is celiac?
Okay.
That's my level of knowledge.
Right.
Like, you know, I
thought it was a fruit or
I
vegetable.
was 21, 22. I was just pizzas, burgers.
Yeah,
you know,
eat whatever you want.
Yeah, you know. And then she was like to me, I think you're in the wrong course. But as the lecturer said that, in a way it was a good thing, said no notions, said no preconceptions of
empty
what
vessel.
was, what was right, what was wrong. So I just soaked it up like a sponge and absolutely fell in love with it. Went on to do nutritional therapy. It was 4 years. Qualified and working at it then since for the last 8 years as a nutritional therapist. I was felt there's still something missing.
Okay.
I couldn't get so far with it. I felt there was something missing, and obviously then I was nationally into the sports, and it led me into personal training.
What kind of sport did you like?
Up until I was 20, I played rugby and GA, but I badly hurt my back. And just trying to get that right just driving me mad. Yeah. I spent about 3-4 years trying to get that right. Couldn't, you know, went to all sorts of doctors, physios, chiropractors, and thank God a doctor advised me against the surgery.
Yes.
So I was very happy for that and grateful for that.
Awesome.
And then I fell into triathlon and became quite competitive at that.
So that's pretty hardcore. Like,
yeah, that was.
And your body shape changes rapidly, don't you? Doesn't it? When you do triathlon.
Like I dropped I naturally sit in about mid 90 something kg. Drop down to about.
That's somewhere where I sit right
now. So drop down to about 80 kg. I didn't feel good at that level. I was performing well, but body wise, energy wise, I didn't feel good. And then I did PT cert at the time, and it was an awful course. I didn't think they didn't teach you, like they just told you.
Was it one of these money making, you get on the treadmill and 20 people get thrown through it? And
I kind of felt it was that way. I felt like, to give an exercise to someone, there was no rationale behind it. So like if I was to ask you to do, if you came to me for an exercise programs, you copy and paste and give it to you. There was no reason, like, why should I give the guy a chest press? Why? And I was also asking that question. Then I found Paul Check.
Yeah. And
the Czech Academy.
We like Paul.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a mad bastard. But
yes.
A friend of mine in Maui actually get to meet him. I'm hoping to get him over to Ireland to do chi bells.
Oh, nice.
So you do qigong and kettlebells. So he's fucking mad, John. I'm saying hello to you, John. I'm hoping we'll have you over. He looks like Thor. Thor. Yeah, he's like he actually is Thor. He's the real Thor. But he loves Paul Check's work. He also likes a couple of other people he follows. I can't remember their names, but Paul Check he considers like pretty much up there.
Yeah, I think when you start following Paul, you feel like he's your grandfather. Just all his knowledge, and he's such a good healer. And I suppose he was the original functional movement guy. He was talking about all this stuff in the 80s that's only coming out now in the strength and conditioning side. So he was, and
he's a beast as well, isn't he? I mean, he can destroy 25-year-olds in a heartbeat.
Incredible man. So studied with the Czech Academy, did so up to 3 years in the Czech Academy, given it a rest now during COVID, just to find other paths. Fell into Chinese medicine. I was just very drawn to it. Acupuncture, I can't tell you the reason why. Just felt it was something.
He saw another fucking poster. He's drawn to posters, people. Another poster on the wall.
Well, he put a poster up in front of me now, and I'm stuck with it. So then, did the acupuncture, qualified in that, and just basically doing that since September. And trying to learn from some of the best practitioners.
It's super interesting about acupuncture because even with everything that I've shared with my interns, like I had an intern who's now qualified and out there and accredited and doing the beans, and even she is like, now she's qualified, she's lying on the bench and I'm treating her and she's saying, well, I'm not quite sure what to do. I'm like, everything I've shown you, but that's the thing. It's like, you don't, when you're out there, you've got to work it out. It's like learning to drive and you pass your test, but driving, the act of driving and driving in different conditions, like driving in Italy compared to driving in Ireland is, a completely different experience. So I always say to people is when you get your license of acupuncture, it's a license to learn more, to practice more. It's like you have the foundations of safety, appropriate needling, correct protocols, clean needle technique, all those things, plus all the knowledge. But really, it took me, I would say, 2 or 3 years to really get a handle on how I do things, and it evolves. So enjoy that process because it will go full circle. You'll find yourself in 10, 15 years time going back and doing the acupuncture you did now. But you just go off, you can go off on mad tangents. You can do spiritual, esoteric acupuncture. You can do acupuncture for pain, internal disease. You can do, functional style. There's this thing called motor points acupuncture, which is a new system. Very sort of, again, another system. So enjoy that process. But for me, tui-na, acupuncture, cupping, you can achieve quite a lot very easily and very effectively, because a lot of people, as you've worked out in your career, aren't very compliant.
No.
It can be quite non-compliant. They, even if clients come to me, just lie on the bench, say, fix me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't fix you, you fix yourself. I'm just a facilitator of that ability for your body to do the fixing.
Yeah.
But there is limits to that too, because the mind is involved. It's nice that they disengage. It's nice that they surrender to it.
Yeah. But
there are different levels of healing. And I would definitely say to you in your practices, pain pays the bills, unfortunately at the same time. So we'll discuss that offline, but you build a pain clinic, then build your internal medicine clinic, and then build your specialist clinic, 3 tiers of service. And then you can move between them and eventually be in a position where, because I've had it all, I've had big clinics, little clinics, clinics in my house, clinics in my apartment, clinics in hotel rooms. I've tried everything. I'm happy where I'm at. Yeah. It's my home at the moment. It's my little house. A little home, I have a friend who's built like a showroom style in the back. So it's in his house, but it's in the garden. And it's all Japanese style, swords and statues, and and that's his. You come in and it's like, now you're in my space. You can do whatever way you want. I have a friend in Wexford who does it out of his old family home. So he lives in one side, and then the family home that's pretty much not being used, but one of the rooms is a clinic. And it works because that space used to be a clinic before that. It was a psychotherapy clinic. So he's utilizing that same healing space. For you now, this place is building the energy, building that healing energy. It's already here. It's just everything, the geopathic we've worked with today is the geopathic energies, helping to clear those is already making
a difference.
And it's real. It's absolutely real. And
it's amazing to see.
I mean, for you, so Michael has a hyperbaric chamber here that he invested a lot of money in. Can you tell the viewers, because we want them to come down to Kildare Village, get your fucking treatments, get your hyperbaric, because they do have them in Dublin, but it's a hassle. It's a ball ache. Drive in, you got to park up. You're paying 20 quid an hour, nearly an hour for parking in Dublin. Then you have your fees. If you're in the country, come here.
Yeah.
You never know. You might have to get 2 of them. So, so the idea is, can you give a little insight? Because I've had clients who've used it, I don't fully understand it myself.
Yeah. So there's hyperbaric chamber. Essentially what's happening is it's like in a submarine going underneath the water. Pressure's building. Mm-hmm. So we're at 1 atmospheric pressure. The chamber, specific chamber I have, goes to 1.4 atmospheric pressure. So as the pressure builds, the oxygen content in the chamber also builds. So we're at 21% oxygen, and the specific chamber I have goes up to 93% oxygen. So now that oxygen has to move somewhere. So in the process of diffusion, where high concentration gas to low concentration gas has to move in to create equilibrium inside the body. So if you even have a respiratory system, now we can bypass that, and the oxygen can actually diffuse in through the skin layer. So if there's inflammation or a hypoxic state where lack of blood flow or lack of oxygen in an area in the skin layer, you don't need to anymore rely on the breathing. You can just bypass that through the skin layer. Obviously then, in conjunction, if you threw in breath work outside the oxygen chamber, you're going to get a huge effect to it. That's essentially how it works. It's just saturating the blood with oxygen, creating a huge healing effect systemically in the body. So it won't be just in one area, it'll be in the entire area. And you feel when you're in it that your head goes completely vacant. I don't know, it's just a beautiful
That's no
feeling.
problem for me.
It's a beautiful feeling. Just you feel so relaxed, and the biggest benefit that everyone comes back with is their skin.
Yeah,
that's the first thing everyone says, that people are complimenting. I look younger, I feel younger.
Yeah,
and skin just is vibrant. Yeah.
Is it like being in the womb? People, you're sending people back into the womb.
yeah. Back in time. It is. It's.
It must have some effects on the stem cells, though.
Yeah, you naturally produce stem cells when you're in it. Yeah, the higher level of oxygen, you will start producing more stem cells. That's part of the healing process in it. And you know, you're not just getting the healing process when you're in it, it's after
It keeps
as well.
going.
It keeps going after it. So it's trying to get depending on the condition and what's going on, depending on how many you want to think about in terms of hours in the chamber rather than a session. Depending on the condition, depending on how many hours it's shown to be beneficial for.
So for example, one of my clients, he would have spent something like 100 hours in the chamber for leukemia.
Yeah, huge amount of hours.
And he never regrets it.
No.
He's 7 years still alive after being, told.
Amazing.
In fact, it's so effective. He didn't tell his what do they call him? Cancer dudes. He didn't tell him. The doctor what he was up to. And then, I think he was supposed to have like 14 rounds of chemo, and he got to like 7 or 8, and he's like, I know, I can feel it's gone. Like I can feel it's gone. And he demanded the doctor do more tests, and the doctor said the only real way we'll know is if to do another bone marrow thing, which is horrendous. They basically put a corkscrew into his hip and pull it out. And he said it was horrendous. He's used to it, but the doctor was like, yeah, you're right. Like your bloods have completely normalized, but we need to continue and do another 7 rounds of chemo. And he was like, no, he ain't fucking doing it because my bloods have normalized. Like, why continue? And it's this idea of prevention. But when you're healthy and you start putting poison into you again, you become back, and then there's a risk of secondary cancer. No, that's very controversial. I'm probably going to get shot down, but that's just wasn't my decision. It was my client's decision. I didn't advise him on that, just to clarify the legalities. And he's still alive, and he's sailing off the coast of Greece as we speak. So,
and you're seeing it more and more even in the sports world. So you're seeing it like in Tour de France, the athletes using it for recovery. It's not technically sports enhancement, but it is a type of sports enhancement. Just using technology, they're not actually putting something into their body. You're seeing it with red light therapy as well, photobiomodulation, using it for increasing testosterone health. So the technology health industry is about to explode, I think. And I think you mentioned it already, like that you feel sound is going to be a big
I do think vibration, sound, energy, I think we've always investigated that at some level. Bioresonance energy, something along those lines. I feel eventually it's going to be, I have a joke with some of my students that, in Star Trek they were talking into their watches, and like 10 years ago we had a phone watch. It was like a Sony watch with a phone, and you could talk into it, and it's here. It took 40 years to magically appear, but it's arrived. And then we see these things where people go into a device and it diagnoses them, in Star Trek, and then it decides what you need. And there's this thing called the medbed, which is now starting to come out. And again, it's scanning your body, looking for, it doesn't really diagnose you, but it looks for disparities in your vibrational field, and then gives you the antidote. So I think from a health preventative, it could be the future. But the thing is, we've access now to things like acupuncture, like qigong, like sound healing therapy, whatever it is. It's been with us for centuries, and so why change it?
I think technology is just helping us tap into what we've forgotten. Like hyperbaric oxygen therapy, technically you can probably do that by doing long breath holds and helping your body to actually utilize oxygen more effectively. Creating an oxygen hunger need in the body for a long term, using breath holds such as a Wim Hof or something like that, where you over oxygenate the body and then holding your breath. So these techniques, the technologies are nothing new. Even the sound wave therapies, they're nothing new. It's just we've forgotten how to use it.
That's really important point. Before my teacher died, he said, mobile phones, internet, satellite, all of this stuff we could do without. We are the technology.
Yeah, we are, exactly.
We can transmit and receive messages over long distances. He's in the tribe or the group or the sect that he was in. They used to construct tall towers. So one sect would be in one village, another would be 50 kilometers away in the hills. But because they could align the two towers, and he would sit and meditate and send the message to, and send the message on in images, or, you know, in the Islamic tradition, call to prayer, you know, they all have the minarets, the towers, and it's Allahu Akbar, you know, and it's like that sound is resonating out, you know, call to prayer or whatever. It's in a lot of ancient cultures, modern and not ancient cultures. So I think, you know, I had that joke in one of my last podcasts was, you know, when your mum's about to ring you, you know, it's like you check your phone and you just know it's that vibration that she's thinking of you, you know. Or if you've had a bad day, I always get a missed call from my mum. She's like, she knows I've had a bad day. And that's that resonance we have. And if you look into the Schumann resonance, if you look into quantum field mechanics, look at Rupert Sheldrake's work as well. It's all, I mean, actually, it's funny, quantum physics is supposed to be the new physics. Yeah. But when you talk to a quantum physician, they say, oh, the quantum physics practitioner or doctor or lecturer, they say actually it's the oldest form of physics, but it's just become new because we've only just, it's confusing, and it's not understandable. Waveform theory and particle theory, and
there's nothing even there. Like.
No, it's like everything is a vibration. You know, this is the matrix. Yeah.
It's fascinating, like, and I do think technology is really going to help us heal, but it comes down to ourselves growing and definitely taking responsibility.
I think if we're talking at a mass level, like we're reaching, and some people argue there's too many people on the planet. Some people say there's not enough. You know, there's this thing. I think we forget the planet will get rid of us if it really wants
Mother Earth will kick us out if she wants to.
Really wants to. Her immune system will kick in and we're gone. You know,
like at the minute, I don't know, the way I look at humans or definitely the cancer on the earth.
Next person, let's pause this. Another client. What time is it? I don't know. We might get a chance. Yeah, even just to try it. Yeah. How long do you go into the chamber for?
However long you have. Yeah. If you have 20 minutes, you have 20 minutes. If you have an hour, you have an hour.
Yeah, we'll give it half an hour of a blast.
Yeah, why not?
We can report back.
Yeah. Do it in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say. So yeah, look, it's going to get to the point where I think we realize that, you know, 57% of the world's modern medicine, that's drugs, comes from only 1% of the rainforest. And what are we doing to rainforests? We're destroying them. Well, I'm not destroying them, but we're destroying them because maybe the big pharma, I don't know, let's get rid of the rainforest. It's competition. You know? Why it's so many people taking ayahuasca? There's so many, like for the last 15 years, it's gone fucking nuts. Everybody's doing it. All the big bloggers, the vloggers, the YouTubers, because they're looking for messages hidden in nature. They're looking for some connection. They're looking for the answers. They're looking for certainty. They're looking for the need of variety. They're looking to heal.
And again, like all that is just allowing us, allowing us to do something that's already inside us. It's not. You know, you can do these journeys with breath. Cheers.
So we have a situation where, I mean, we always, you know, look at Deepak. I used to do some work for Deepak years ago, some promotional work for him in Ireland, and he used to talk about spontaneous healings that he'd witnessed. I started working with Roger Yanker, who's like a famous Tai Chi Qigong teacher in the States and author, and he has a book called The Healer Within. And we never, unfortunately, got to run his workshops here for various reasons. But I mean, he reached out and he used to say, you know, read the first few chapters of the book, you know, and we'd read it. And there was a story of a lady who'd been in a severe car accident to the point where she was so paralyzed, the only thing she had control over was her breath. And back then they'd measure your breath and your blood pressure with like sphygmometer with the mercury. She noticed that when she could breathe in, she could adjust her blood pressure and lower it and adjust it and lower it. And she could see her breath moving. So with one eye, she just would focus in on her breath and breathe and breathe and breathe and breathe in and just try to move it. It's the only thing she could do. She couldn't move any other part of the body. And she's also extremely religious. So she had a big spiritual thing, connection to the divine. And she would pray and pray and pray and just breathe and breathe and pray and pray. And like a few months later, she's up and like walking around, and the doctors are like, you know, what, you know. I have a friend actually we did work with a few years ago in Canada, and similar thing. She was in a bad car accident, paralyzed from the waist down, couldn't move her feet, just had this feeling in her body to eat healthy. It's like her body was craving. So, you know, they're bringing in the hospital food, and it's not being funny, but it's, you know, not the greatest nutritional welfare in the world. And so she said to a friend, can you sneak me in greens and veggies and soups and stews and, you know, live foods and foods full of electrolytes. She didn't know why. She's like, it's what I feel. And slowly, and then after a few weeks, she can move her toe. Oh my God. And then she can move her feet, and then the strength and energy was returning. And she didn't know why. And, you know, and we met her there in 2018, I think it was. And you can tell she's had the accident. She doesn't quite walk the same, but she was doing archery. She was walking around. She was standing up, cooking all day. She became like, she can do stuff. She became a health coach, and her thing is nutrition for those who can't afford it. So she teaches people how to shop for healthy food in a low budget and create really healthy food within their family environment. Amazing. So story. Yeah, people like that, incredible. John, another friend of mine, his family suffered over the years, various emotional stuff and emotional eating. And his way out of it was to become an athlete. So like football, American football. And then he became a personal trainer and a coach. And that was his way into keeping himself, weight regulation. And then it's turned into this huge spiritual path for him. So like he's meditating and doing yoga and you know, fasting, and he has this thing called Jerf Life, which is just eat real food, his own coffee brand, lives on the island of Maui by himself like a hermit, you know, and grows all his own veggies, and that he's happy out, you know. Simple life. Has his online clients. I have another buddy, George, who's like builds CLT buildings, composite log timber, eco-friendly log cabins, and starting that business up. And his thing is to wind foil every day in the sea. So he goes out on this, you know, kind of it's like it looks like an ironing board, but it's got a foil on it, like much like a hydrofoil. And then you have this big wing that you hold, and it's the new sport. Class. That's his qigong. That's his meditation. And he tries to eat as healthy as he can, take CPD products or eat more plant. For him, it works. He did this whole DNA testing thing, and he just found out that, you know, a few years ago that he had mold in his blood, and he figures that's what was causing high cholesterol. And he's been cleaning that out of his body. And he just got an acupuncture session there recently. He hasn't had one in years, and he said he fucking loved it. So like he had an hour and a half of rest. So yeah, there's all these things that are accessible to us that we would consider, most people consider woo-woo, a little bit out there, but it's all there for the taking. You know, it's tried, it's tested. It wouldn't have survived this long if it doesn't work. It's just, unfortunately, there's a lot of bad practitioners out there. Like there's a lot of bad practitioners of medicine, I'm sure. A lot of bad doctors. And I don't mean bad people, but just don't do the medicine very well or don't do it justice. Here in Ireland, when I first came here, I had like a fungal infection or some weird thing on my feet. And the first thing the doctor said was, it's the dairy. It's that you're not used to the Irish dairy. And I was like blown away, like, wow, that's the first time anyone said, you know, look, here's some steroid cream and take that. And he was like, yeah, come off the dairy for a while. And he was right. As soon as I came off the dairy, it just went away. Yes. So some doctors are really tuned in, you know. And so
like even coming back to I don't know, like I think his mindset as well, like, so I studied with Patrick McKeown doing Buteyko breathing.
Awesome. He's here in Ireland,
He's
right?
here, yeah, he's based in Galway. Amazing man, really lovely man. But he talks about Vladimir Buteyko going around the clinic setting and how he noticed the breathing thing was that people who were very sick were just breathing through their mouth. And he associated it to farm animal. When a farm animal is sick, they stick their tongue out and they're breathing through their mouth. And I notice even in the clinic here, like you give breathing exercises to clients, yet they don't see the value in it. And I think it's because it's free.
Not a medicine.
It's free. So when you charge heavy for it, then they might do it. But and it's such a powerful thing to do. Just sit there and breathe. 4-8, 1 to 2 ratio breathing. Breathing for 4, out for 8. Just
I was consuming South American herb a few years ago. It was quite a powerful herb, and you're supposed to have like 1 or 2 cups a day. But me being me, I'm like, yeah, let's do 4. Let's go double. And the following day, my heart was like bongos. It was like boom, 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 boom. It was like all the regular. It's a strange feeling in your chest, and it's kind of freaky. But I was able to breathe and move and walk, but it just was like all over the shop. And I used to have a friend where I used to live, and he was a shaman, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the energy of the plant. It's warning you, about your heart. You need to take care of your heart. It's not functioning properly." So that fucking freaked me out. I was like, "Fuck," So I'm doing all the qigong and leigongs, like no. So I reached out to a buddy of mine who was Russian, actually, a Russian guy, and he said, "Oh, do HRV breathing." So this idea of 5 in, 5 out, 5 in, 5 out. And he said, you need to do an hour a day. I'm like, fuck. On top of everything else, I need to do an hour. He said, no, break it down.
Yeah.
So what you do is you do 5 minutes in the car, 5 minutes waiting at the lights, 10 minutes in bed, 10 minutes in the morning before you get out of bed. When you're with a client and you're waiting, do another 10 minutes. And it's all started to clock up slowly. Yeah. After 2-3 days, I could easily do an hour.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, 3 days later, that heart thing went.
Amazing.
It went away because you're taking control of your sympathetic and parasympathetic system.
That's one of the most powerful ways of losing weight is breath, just by breathing properly, not doing anything else with your diet, just breathing properly.
Super interesting. When the first time I was in Canada, I had a friend over there, and he'd been looking after his diet, but during the whole camp, he's just eating pretty much anything, pancakes, healthy food, whatever, having a few glasses of red wine, but he was losing weight. You could see him like visibly getting ripped. You know what it was? He'd been living in Seattle in an apartment block, whatever, a building. Now he's in a tent. And so that all the fresh air coming in all the time. And he's out, and it was slightly colder temperature. And so the visceral fat was just, no, he's a very good metabolism. So you could see it. You could see him like shredding. And he was eating like nothing special. Yeah. It's just that constant access to fresh air. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. Out in nature.
And then if you look at podcast 17 with Freya, she was saying that her teacher says we're always in autumn. Like pretty much all the bodies on the island are always in autumn. That means they're putting on fat. They're putting on fat, preparing for a harsh winter.
And why did she think that?
Well, her teacher, Eric, worked with the Hadza tribe in Tanzania. And they basically hunt, eat meat, baboon, you name it. Eat a little bit of corn, a little bit of starch for their brain health and their energy, but mainly live on protein, a little bit of whatever they can gather, fats. And he'd studied these for years and lived with them and worked with them as an anthropologist. And then when he came back to America, he realized that, and this is specifically standard American diet, that the body, the metabolism is completely non-flexible, like we talked about earlier. Now, in his diet, it doesn't really suit vegan. It's not for vegans. He actually says, like, you're going to struggle. It's possible, but you're going to struggle because veganism is an invention, a creation. Now, that doesn't mean to say there aren't cultures that are not vegan, but they're probably vegan because they had no access to the volume of meats and fats. or there's an element of religiousness there as well around veganism, maybe. So, this idea then of when you get past like 13 weeks of this program, you become metabolically different, and that you don't have that hunger. It's like, you don't have the cravings. You don't have the cravings. Yeah. When you go into a supermarket, you're not going for the, you just, in fact, actually for me, even now, I've put on weight. I'm the biggest I've been in a long time. And going in and seeing the amount of sugar, it's just, it's mind blowing. I mean, if you could take a supermarket and cut it down the middle, half of that supermarket would just be a pile of sugar about 4 foot high. It's frightening.
You see the size of them now. Supermarkets, like, they don't need to be that big. Like, all you need is vegetables and meat.
Yeah. Can you imagine? The food industry would be destroyed, wouldn't it?
And then their marketing techniques is just disgraceful. Like, it should be.
Yeah, and that's part of what this Eric guy WildFit does, is he breaks that belief system around food, that they are basically liars, cheats.
Yeah, the target children as well.
Target children, McDonald's.
All the crisps on a low level.
Yeah.
So their eyesight's it. I remember hearing once about the Kellogg's.
The crazy guy.
The Kellogg's, the turkey, or the box, was it?
In
the box.
Yeah.
That is specifically put on a shelf, and the chicken's looking down at the child. Yeah. And it's a position of kind of dominance. And so it's
NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and
it's frightening. Like,
it's like this. I wanted to give this. It's like Simply Vegan, right? And it's in a green. So because it's green, it's healthy, and it must be good for you. And I wanted to bring this, no disrespect to this company, but it's like, let's see what's in it. First thing, cocoa mass, sugar, cocoa butter, soya, peanuts, shredded coconut, dried apricots, rice, flour, glucose syrup, another form of sugar, coconut blossom nectar, another form of sugar, pumpkin seeds, crisp rice with rice sugar, sunflower seeds. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 types of sugar in the Simply Vegan. Says it all. And I mean, even here, I brought another example for this vlog, these apples, right? Now, why do we need this? Why do we need plastic? That's infusing into the surface of the, it's just everywhere. Yeah. Glad to see a glass bottle. Let's have a look at this one. Gluten-free, low sugar, low caffeine, antioxidants. So filtered water. It has cane sugar, right? Even in this green tea,
fermentation,
but it's fermented, So, I mean, I'm not saying sugar hasn't been part of our culture. I think we went for it because it gave us so much energy, so much immediate energy, and it was favorable. Like let's face it, there's that idea that meat is hard to get. If fruit comes, so even Freya was saying to me, fruit is available for a short period of time and it's gone. So you have to be metabolically flexible to be able to take it and absorb it. And your body would have just taken that sugar and dumped it straight as fat, straight away, energy reserves, or put it into your muscle group straight away for immediate use. And the fats were to survive.
Yeah. And as we saw, it had to be 3 different energy systems.
Yes. Can you explain? Because I thought that was fascinating.
So like one energy system is basically your sugar energy system, your carbohydrate-based energy system. Another energy system is basically your fat energy system. And then the third one is your creatine phosphate energy system. So really we want to be able to use all 3 of them, but we're predominantly using the carbohydrate-based energy system because you think about, a pasta dish. It's like a small little bit of ham in it and then loads of pasta. So it's loads of sugar coming into the energy system. So the body is really intelligent. It's not going to be like, well, I'm not going to use my resources to burn fat now. I have excess supply of sugar, so I'll just forget about this system. So it just uses carbohydrates for energy. And over time, it forgets how to use our fat-based system. While a child, when they're first born, they can't actually even produce lactic acid, and they're primarily using a fat-based energy system. That's why they keep going, and that's why they don't get tired. Like we produce lactic acid to tell us to stop, where you're going to give yourself a heart attack. Especially when you're not fit. That's where you're. While a child will produce that. So then what we want to do is be able to use our fat energy system and our carbohydrate-based energy system. Now the creatine phosphate energy system is basically like a sprinter, 10-meter sprint. It's a very short energy system. It's power output. And again, like you get that creatine primarily from red meat-based food. And again, that's a really important system to train. Again, you don't see many people training that system. So you get your runners who are just plodding along one pace all the time, and like that's what's called the black zone, the dead zone, where you're not going hard enough to get fit, and you're going a bit too hard to actually get the benefit of your fat burn energy system, and you're sitting right in the middle, and you're actually causing a lot of metabolic damage. So you're better off just learning about just either running really slow and then throwing in the odd sprint, or and don't be afraid of running slow. Slow is fast. Run to your nose breathing. If you have to breathe through your mouth, you're in
survival mode.
You're running too hard. Breathe through the nose. Even if that means you can't run, you have to walk, your fitness will go through the roof if you just focus on that.
That's super interesting.
And even just coming back to breath, like you were talking about, parasympathetic and sympathetic, the HRV breathing, tape your mouth up at night. And straight away there's another 8 hours or 7 hours of just steady state breathing. Taping that mouth up at night using micropore tape so you don't rip the face off.
They reckon that a lot of the indigenous tribes have better teeth, better production of teeth than us, because that's how they breathe. To conserve energy in the jungle, you have to breathe nasal breathing. In the desert, nasal breathing. In the cold, nasal breathing. Because you need to warm the air, moisturize it, clean it. You get extra energy from the venturi plates.
And again,
the qigong.
Coming back to that, like our jawbone has a huge amount of stem cells, and it's one of the only bones in the human body that can grow at any stage in life. So and we see nowadays sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is huge at the minute. And when you look at someone who, not everyone, but a lot of people who have a breathing dysfunction or sleep apnea, their jaw is set back. So their jaw isn't coming out, so their jaw is set back. So then the airways, you can't breathe as much as trapped airways, a shallower airway, and causes you to breathe through your mouth, which dries out the airways, basically constricts their arteries, causes increased risk of heart disease in the body, or whatever else. And we're not producing the nitric oxide through the nose. But we can stimulate our jawbone by dentists can put mouthpieces in that can stimulate the bone to grow, but also eating an apple or eating some real food that's hard. So you're stimulating, it's like weightlifting. You're stimulating the muscles to grow, and you're pulling like that jawbone, making it grow. While again, if you're eating something like pasta, it's really soft. The bone's not going to have, the bone doesn't have stress. That jaw's the size of, do you remember that? It's like a piece of rubber. Like you see people like literally they reverse their aging because those stem cells are obviously being stimulated. It's big stem. Amazing. Like my son has 2 teeth still in his jaw, baby teeth that might come through, might not come through, and he's 13. I was born no wisdom teeth, and he has the same, and it's like that's a genetic thing, evolutionary trait. And my wife was telling me that her dentist had told her that the wisdom teeth were designed really for eating really hard foods, being able to like break real sort of. Now I have like barbarian incisors, like I look like a vampire, so I reckon I must have gone around chewing on people's legs and stuff. So it's super interesting that, I mean,
So let's get into see Michael. He is in Kildare town. What would be the area we're close to?
Kildare town, it's near Naas. It's kind of right in the centre of Kildare, Naas, Newbridge, Kildare village, I suppose. Everyone knows that.
So you'd be like half an hour from Dublin, really.
Half an hour from Dublin, motorway,
We'll leave details below. I'm going to try the hyperbaric chamber now before I go. And then I can do a little video before and afterwards. I'll put it on my phone for you to have a look, and we can have a look at it being set up. He's also practicing acupuncture, specializing in chronic pain, and shortly to be introducing tui-na into the clinic, which will be a game changer, a really, real big game changer. It's quite impressive. And let's get it going and change the face of Kildare as we know it. It's badly needed. So thanks very much for inviting me down and feeding and watering me. This is our cup of tea, and we'll see you on the next episode. And thanks for joining us. So.